family. This is Justaria Curry. I am the demystified herbalist, and welcome to my podcast called Dear Herbalist. Now, on this podcast, I am talking to herbalists, new and seasoned, those who are plant enthusiasts, those who are interested in getting into plant medicine and using it to help people, help themselves. This podcast is for you. So please stay tuned. Today in episode 10, we are going to talk about Herbalist Stay in Your Lane. So, what do I mean when I say stay in your lane? Like I've said before, I believe that we are all put on this earth for a purpose. Okay. If you feel for any reason that you have been called to use plant medicine, then your next step is to pray and ask in what capacity you are to use these herbs. So bottom line, what is your specific assignment? Okay. What are you put here to do? Right. And this is what I call your lane. Okay. Now, in plant medicine, herbal medicine, okay, and I will use those terms interchangeably, okay? Why do we even have lanes? you know? Well, the obvious reason, we all weren't just dropped here for no reason, just to take up space and throw our matter all over the place, right? We were put here for a specific purpose. But let's take a look at some facts, okay? Number one, there are over 390,000 species of plants on this earth that have been made known, I should say, to man. Okay? There are over 30 to 40 trillion cells in our human body. Okay? And those cells are divided up amongst our nerve cells, our liver cells, kidney cells, spread all throughout the body. Okay. And then when you look at the different biochemical processes that are in the body, I mean, the number is innumerable. It's too many. It's beyond the understanding of scientists. Okay. And because, scientific research is ever evolving, they find a little here, a little there, a little there. But could they say, hands down, we know everything that there is to know about everything with the human body? No. They're still finding stuff. And the same thing is with the plants. Okay. So for that reason, all right, this is why I encourage herbalists to get in a lane. Okay. Stay there. Develop the knowledge necessary to carry out the assignment you've been given because it's truly unique. Okay. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's important to stay in your lane so you don't get overwhelmed. If you were supposed to be a product making herbalist, trust me, there is enough information in that lane to last you a lifetime. If you are someone who is a clinical herbalist, and you may not call yourself a clinical herbalist. When I say clinical, I mean somebody that assesses a person's situation and makes recommendations of different plants to address those issues. So you could be a herbal coach, a wellness coach, whatever you call yourself. But if you're using that specific process of making assessments of a person's condition and then making recommendations of plants to address that condition, then I'm always going to put you under the umbrella of clinical. Okay? So when you hear me say that, that's why. But if you are a clinical herbalist, you have your lane, and I guarantee you there is enough knowledge out there. You will not have time to take a peek over into anybody else's lane. And the same thing goes for the herbal researchers and the herbal writers and bloggers and educators and podcasters. And I mean, those in every single lane, there is no end. So when you're first starting out as an herbalist, it may seem overwhelming because you're standing at the top of that 1,000,000 lane highway and you're like, it's a lot. Where do I start? Where do I go? Which lane do I get in? Do I hop over here if I'm in that lane? And what about the other lane? You know what I'm saying? So it looks overwhelming. versus if you get in your lane, whatever that lane is, and only you will know what that is. Okay. But you get in that lane, all of a sudden, it seems, I don't want to say easy, but it seems like you fit there and you don't have to toil to do the work because it comes naturally to you because you are in the right lane. So I encourage herbalists, young and seasoned, get in a lane. Okay? And like I said, the main reason why a lot of new herbalists tend to get overwhelmed, and even seasoned herbalists, because they try to take the whole elephant instead of getting in there only they little piece of meat to stay on your part. You know, they want to try to just gobble up the whole elephant. You know, and so in my mind, you know, as I began to research over the years, I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have herbalists that focus on like specific systems? You know, like if I'm seeing someone, I can say, well, this seems more like an issue with your endocrine system, right? So, or a hormonal issue. So I know this one herbalist over here, and I know that she specializes in the endocrine system. Like she studied it in and out. She knows the herbs that have the affinity for that system, and she knows her stuff. And I can say, I would recommend that you go see her. Right? Wouldn't that be nice to have a community like that? And that's not like some far off dream. That can actually happen if people would get in their lanes. Okay? We weren't meant to do it all. We weren't meant to carry it all. We weren't meant to know it all. And I know you may feel the pressure of people wanting you to know it all, wanting you to carry it all, looking at you and saying, you don't know that? I thought you was the herbalist. Like they're, you know, almost like they're mocking you. Like, I thought you was the guru. Well, nobody told you. I didn't know guru. I sure didn't tell you that. You know, I'm not the guru. I am a person with a specific set of skills and knowledge. And I will not step outside of that, sir. I will not step outside of that, ma'am. And that is okay. That doesn't make me less intelligent. Because you, if you wanted to and wanted to waste time to do that, you can question them about certain things in their life. And you're going to hear an I don't know somewhere, or I haven't checked into that, or wow, I haven't really thought about that. So does that make you less intelligent now? Should I scold you? No, because it's human nature. And if you walk into this understanding that you're not going to know everything, so don't try. But you will have joy. You will have a lot more peace stepping in your lane and riding it out to the end. Right? Herbal researchers. You guys are important because you are out here testing the plants. You are testing to see what the medicinal properties are and how we can use them and if they interact well with certain other things. And then you're reporting your findings, right? So then the clinical herbalist can come in and they can take those findings and use that to recommend medicines for their clients. And then their clients like, okay, yes, you know, I want to get on board with taking that medicine. So then the clinical herbalist now can reach out to the product making herbalist and say, hey, can you create these specific medicines? This is what the client needs. And so we can all work together, but we all have a specific job to do. And when one person is trying to do the job of many, that is the quickest way to burn out. That's the quickest way to incur or make really costly mistakes or potentially harming someone, right? So I talked to you about the importance of staying in your lane. Okay. Let's look at the cost of getting out of your lane and what happens then. The first thing that could happen is that you'll lose focus, because constantly shifting focus from your own goals and priorities can lead to a lack of, clarity and direction. Okay, which can hinder your ability to make meaningful progress in areas that are really important to you. So if you are jumping over in the product making lane and you're supposed to be a researcher, okay? And so, yeah, you may be using some of your research and what you know to create these specific medicines, but now you want to, and you may use them at home, but now you want to go public. Now you want to have a shop. Now you want, you know what I mean? And with each of those particular jobs, take a specific amount of energy to do those things. So where you had 100% energy to focus on what you were supposed to be doing, now you're giving 25% to what you're supposed to be doing, another 25 to product making, another 25 to herb shop owner, and then you're, so, and it eventually, because you are out of your lane, you will eventually get frustrated. It'll be a matter of time, because our souls are always trying to pull us back to the middle. Always trying to pull us back to, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to do. Stop fighting. Right? The other thing that you can experience, like I spoke about earlier, is burnout, because you're taking on too much. And like I said before, the minute you tell people that you are an herbalist, people are going to come out the woodworks. And so if you take all of these people on, okay, let's say you got people coming to you. Now you're in the clinical herbalist lane and you really don't want to be there. You may want to give a few recommendations here or there, but you're not trying to, do assessments and all this other. You're not trying to do that. Monitor them, protocols. You're not trying to do any of that, but you end up doing that. And so now your lane that you're supposed to be in becomes a distant future. You do a little bit there, but you're spending so much time in another lane. It's not your passion. It's not your purpose. You're overextending yourself. You're physically and mentally exhausted. Now you're sick. It's a high cost. Okay. Another consequence, reduced effectiveness. Okay. When you're spreading yourself too thin by involving yourself in way too many lanes, you're not going to be able to contribute your best efforts to that particular lane. Okay. And this can lead to reduced effectiveness or impact. Okay. I used to have a coworker a long time ago, and they spread themselves too thin. They did 1,001 things. And I would always hear clients calling in, going off because this particular person said they were going to call them back, never call them back. Said they would, they needed to bring up some paperwork to do some stuff. They would bring the paperwork up, and then the person would forget that they invited them for the appointment. Like, spreading yourself way too thin. Okay? Not a good thing. The other consequence, I should say, of getting out of your lane is missed opportunities. And missed opportunities is often hard to see sometimes because we're so focused in looking over here and looking over there. But by focusing on other people's path, it can cause you to overlook or miss opportunities that are uniquely aligned with your skills and your passions and your inspiration. So it's important to recognize and seize all the opportunities that can contribute to your own growth and fulfillment in your own lane. Another, there's quite a few, right? Another issue is strained relationships. When you neglect your own priorities and are consistently involving yourself in unrelated matters, okay, this can strain your relationship. Basically, digging around in folks' business. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, I've heard it been said in many ways. This ain't my circus. This ain't my monkeys. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. However you want to say that. Okay? However you want to say that. All right? But you want to stay focused on your own priorities so that you don't have strains on relationships. So people don't look at you as being inconsistent or unreliable, right? And this can affect you not only in your personal relationships, but in your professional connections. Nobody wants to deal with that, especially in herbal medicine when we're all busy, when there's so much going on, there's so much to know, there's so many people to help. You don't have time for somebody that's all over the place because you're trying to stay sane yourself. Look, we can't both jump off the bridge. Somebody got to stay there and tell the story. You know? Okay, nobody jump off no bridge. I know the soft society we live in right now, people get a little butt hurt. I'm not telling you to do that, all right? But what I am saying is that you want to maintain your connections. Okay? The other thing is there will be a delay in your personal growth. Now, when you're in your own lane, okay, and you're focusing on personal development and growth, you're constantly monitoring yourself and you're watching and you're able to see the growth happen. But if you're consistently hopping in and out of lanes, okay, this can only delay your self improvement because, again, you're focused on way too much stuff. And so, whereas your journey could have been a couple months, now it's a couple years because you're hopping off and focusing on other things. You're not focusing on your own personal growth. And this is a journey. I cannot stress this enough. I may make a t-shirt about it. This is a journey. And so growth happens on a journey. Breaking down of things and rebuilding and all that happens on the journey. But if you interrupt or intercept these processes by hopping off to another lane, trying to grow and develop over there, it ain't gonna work. Okay? Another issue, okay, that can happen when you get out of your lane is lack of authenticity. You're not believable. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying what you're selling. Right? So, let me give you an example. Human body example, okay? Now, in the human body, we have what we call the self cells. There's these receptors that are on the cells of our bodies, all of them, that the body is able to recognize as this is you. This is yourself. Okay? Now, when a foreign body enters into our body, right, it doesn't possess these receptors, it is looked at as a foreigner and it is addressed as such. Okay? It's not the real thing, and so it's rejected. Okay? So when you are in someone's lane, okay, you will lack the authenticity. Have you ever looked at somebody that's in their lane and they're flowing in their lane and it seems easy? It seems like they could be doing it all day long, and you're like, wow. It just seems like they could just do that in their sleep. It's because they're in their lane. But then you see other people, it's clear they're not authentic. They're trying to put on a costume. Nobody recognized them as self. They are foreigners. You know what I mean? They're not authentic. And so if you're not authentic, you don't know who you are, and you're in the wrong lane, you're going to constantly be adapting to others' expectations or interests. And that's not good. So if you want to build genuine connections with your clients, with your I don't want to say co-workers, but I guess co-workers as well, but with other herbalists in the field, if you want to build genuine connections, you got to be real. You got to be authentic. You got to be you. Because if you're wearing a mask, somebody's going to see that eventually. It's going to get sweaty under there. Maybe stink, depending on how long you have it. Excuse me. I have to drink my water. Hear my voice getting cracky. But I'm serious. So being authentic is important. Being who you are in your own lane is important. Nobody can do what you do like you do it. Nobody. And that's not to get arrogant, but that's true. But you got to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. Then get in that lane. But if you get out of that lane, it seems fake. The other thing is stagnation. Okay? That is a consequence of getting out of your lane. Because failing to invest time and effort into your own path will cause you to become stagnant. Why? Because you're spreading yourself too thin and you're jumping over here and jumping over there. And it's important to make sure that you're continually setting and pursuing personal goals so that you can grow and feel a sense of accomplishment. But if you're jumping around this lane, that lane, this lane, that lane, it's like you're sitting in a car that's not going anywhere. You're just jumping from the front seat to the back seat, from the front seat to the back seat. But mentally, you're hoping that car is going to get you to the store. But you didn't get in the front seat, cut on the car, step on the gas, and go. You're just hopping from the front seat to the back seat, from the front seat to the back seat. So who wouldn't get frustrated like that? Nobody wants to feel stagnation. And if you look around in today's society, you see a lot of people at your job if you work, or if you're walking around, or if you're interacting with people, customer service reps, people are stagnant. And they hate their jobs. They hate their lives. You feel it. You sense it. So you look at them and it's like, I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be in the wrong lane. I don't want to miss the opportunities that are for me. I don't want what you got. I don't want your stuff. I want my stuff. I want what's assigned to me. And if we focus on our lane, then we're not looking over there at you. We're not getting jealous because your book went to bestseller, or your remedy has helped, facilitate healing for 100 million people. We're not getting jealous, but we're celebrating you, and we're able to celebrate you because we understand that in your lane, that's the success you get. So that when you see me with success in my lane, you understand that this is the success that I get. You're not owed anything else. We're not. So, to mitigate these dangers, okay, of getting out of your lane, it's important to have a balance, okay, between exploring new opportunities and staying true to your own path. And it is a balance, especially if you are like the people in the scriptures who some were given 1 talent, some were given 2 talents, some were given 5 talents. Trust and believe that all of those talents is for that one lane, what you are here for. It is. It may not seem like it. It may not be able to connect the dots of it. How does this even interplay with this, and how this and that? Well, if you keep living long enough, if you pray long enough, you'll figure it out. You'll see how it all ties together. And sometimes you won't know until the end. Your end. Just enjoy the journey. But spend a little time understanding what's your place in this world. Okay? Take time for regular self-reflection. Set some goals. Okay? Prioritize. What truly matters to you? What is truly pertinent for your lane? When it comes to education, because I get herbalists asking me that, well, what am I supposed to know? Where do I learn? Well, what lane are you in? That's what you need to know for that lane. Right? But no matter what, understand that every single lane, while different, when it comes to herbal medicine, all of them are significant. All of them. Even if you are writing an herbal blog, bringing awareness to the world about the benefits of plants, you are needed. Okay? Herbal educators. We are the trainers of this generation. If we don't write the books or create the courses or study the material or teach classes, what are we doing? We are important. To my herb farmers out there, to make sure that we have potent and ethically sourced plants, you are important. To my herb shop owners, bringing the plant medicine to the people, providing access to plant medicine to areas where it would not normally be. You are important. To spa and wellness center herbalists, bringing peace and tranquility to an overworked, underpaid, undernourished world. You are needed. To my home herbalist, creating communities of mothers and fathers who understand how to use plant medicine in the home, speaking and connecting with the common man. You are needed. To our herbal researchers, you are needed. Okay? All roles in herbal medicine are significant. All lanes are important. No lane is better than the other. We need everyone in their role so that we can push this medicine forward, because people are dying out here, y'all. They are dying out here. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of going to funerals. It's one thing to transition to your next life because your time is up, but some of this stuff seems like people are they're going before their time unnecessarily. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of seeing it. It breaks my heart. Because people are losing lives, people are losing organs, people are losing limbs because they don't know another way. The original way. And so if you are an herbalist interested in herbal medicine, new, seasoned, whatever, get in that lane and work it like nobody's business, because you are needed out here. We are being attacked on so many levels. And so imagine if, rather than one or two herbalists in a particular state that are getting attacked and singled out, it's hard to attack hundreds of thousands of herbalists out here. It's hard to do that. But no, we sit in fear. And we don't move, and we don't mobilize, and we don't, bring a community together. We're bickering, we're arguing over philosophies. This medicine don't do that, it does this. Well, this plant is that. This is an adaptogen, it does that. You should read some of these blogs. I know some of you have. People have 4 or 5 sticks up there behind. Like, chill, ma'am. Chill, sir. Rather than bickering, we need to come together instead of fighting and arguing to make this world a better place. Imagine if herbalists would step out of fear and move towards their calling. How much better would we be? What would that look like? We could be communities. We could be a solid cord that can't be broken. But we gotta work together. But get in your lane. Don't leave any openings. Don't leave any holes. Okay? Don't be the weakest link. Get in your lane. Help who you're supposed to help. Do what you're supposed to do. Everybody has a role. Nobody should feel insignificant. But we got to do the work, y'all. We got to do that preliminary work. Understand what lane we're supposed to be in. Get in there. And then start gathering all the information you can about how to be effective in that. And get around other herbalists who are supportive, who will push you. Not try to, roughshod you. Try to be condescending because they feel threatened because they aren't operating in their lane like they're supposed to. So they see you flowing in yours. And so they want to hate on you. They want to discredit you. All of a sudden, they before they couldn't find a pen. Now they finding everything they can to write negative things about you because you are blossoming where you were planted. And they are running around here not grounded, blowing in the wind. So I want to encourage you today to find your lane. Get in it and get going. You have everything that you need on the inside of you to do what you were put on this earth for. You have access to knowledge like never before. And the bottom line is the world needs you. So if you have enjoyed this podcast, family, please continue to listen. I appreciate it. Comments down below. Share it. Because this is important information. This will help people who feel overwhelmed, who feel ineffective. Just because people aren't listening to you in your little town of 25 people or your town of 300 people doesn't mean that you're not effective. Doesn't mean you're not needed and not necessary. Because you are. And though the shadow of Big Pharma seems so huge, greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. So until next time, family, be inspired, stay positive, stay tuned for more informative podcasts, and until next time, I'm out.